All right, everybody, welcome back to another video here. I know it has been a few weeks or a couple weeks now since I've posted a video, and honestly, it is because I have taken the biggest loss of my trading career about 2 Fridays ago, which we will get into here shortly. So, if you haven't been in the market recently or you haven't heard about it, DWAC went absolutely crazy about 2 weeks ago. Here is its chart. As you can see, it went from about $10 or so all the way up to $175 in 2 days. And I mean, has came and crashed kind of back down to earth. It's still up at $60 though, so obviously it's still holding pretty well here. Um, for those of you that don't know, this is basically a SPAC, which is going to be taking over Trump's social media platform, or at least it's supposed to be, and that's what all of this is all about. Good old Donald Trump pumps coming back in play. But yeah, this went absolutely insane, and I did not play it at all. But it is why I took the biggest loss of my career the next day. So basically, this thing ran wild, as we can see here. And so this is a Thursday here, the 21st, and then this is a Friday, the 22nd. And so on the 21st here, if we zoom in, DWAC, just kind of gets moving a little bit in the morning. It wasn't too crazy until the afternoon. It really, really went nuts. And I actually didn't play DWAC directly. I played DWACW, which is its warrants, which, if I'm being honest, I don't completely understand that aspect of it, but I just know they're a lot cheaper. They don't get quite as much volume, but they tend to just kind of follow and move with the stock. So for me, instead of buying $30 shares and stuff like that, I was able to buy the warrants of DWACW and have a play there. So you can see here in the morning, we get a nice run up, and we'll just go over to DWACW. It will look pretty similar here. Let's zoom out a little bit, see if we can. So this is again the 21st, that same day of the first run up, and this one also went all the way up to 80. But it was obviously a lot cheaper. So we'll just kind of bring over my orders here from it. So I first got into it. Let's see, we'll just put these out of the way, but I still want to be able to see the time. Oh, we don't need those HX ones yet. So yeah, I bought 100 of these right around 11 o'clock for $6.90, and then I sold half of them at $7.45. And I was gonna sell some more at 7.49. I canceled that, and then it kind of pulled back on me, so maybe I should have. But then we got a big dip here, and I bought 50 more. So basically, the 50 I sold, I reloaded down at 636 to bring down my average. And then I actually bought 20 more on top of that. Sorry, I'm kind of getting confused here. It was a couple weeks ago. Yep, bought some more all the way down at $6 and then got a nice bump up. So I had 120 shares, sold them all at 6.99, right around 11.12. And then I actually was running out of buying power for the day, so I did use my final like $40 to buy 6 shares of it back again at $6 and got a nice $1.50 a share almost off of those. But just to go into it a little bit, so these were all right around 11 o'clock, as you can see here. We had this nice spike on DWAC, just kind of following, catching up to DWAC, which had already kind of ran up quite a bit. And DWACW was going kind of crazy here. So I got in here. This is confusing me. What is going on? 10:59 at 6:90. When did I get out of these? Oh yeah, it's just because it goes up so high, it's making these spikes look really small. But if we just move it over here a little bit more, now you can kind of see getting in at 690, got the pushed back up to the mid sevens, and then this big sell off here down to $6, and then that's when I ended up getting back out of it into, oh, that was later in the day, or not later in the day, but more so, no, 6.99 right at 11.12 here. Yeah, so I averaged back down into here and then sold out. This, honestly, I mean, this was fine. This wasn't the main thing that happened that I was wanted to talk about. The next thing you can see is me buying these just 6 warrants or 6 shares. They still trade just like a stock, but it's just warrants. So finally buying my last 6 at 11.20 right over here, and we get a pretty big sell-off. And so I did kind of hold on to it longer than I normally would, but at the same time, I only had 6 shares, so it wasn't getting too bad. And then you can see I didn't sell these until almost 1 o'clock, up at 7.50, and so that was right up in here. I sold them, and of course, it just missed out on this huge run. But what I wanted to get at is that the warrants, they don't halt. Whereas a normal stock, if it starts going crazy like this, it halts. So we got DWAC here right when I had my warrants bought. DWAC halted. So right before noon, it was halted. But what did that do for DWACW is it started spiking because nobody could buy DWAC at the time, I'm guessing. They expected it to come out of the halt and run. So people were running to DWACW and causing this big run up. So that was kind of my thesis going into the next day. As warrants started running a lot, we were kind of seeing this come into play. This hasn't happened since I started trading. Warrants have never been something that run a lot. So this was kind of just new in the market. For the past couple weeks, warrants were just going crazy. So yeah, the next day is where things get really ugly. And that was me trading fun. Well, I was trading Fun W. So here is Friday, the day after Thursday, and you can kind of see on that DWACW trade that I did kind of get away with holding on to the warrants, like I said, longer than I normally would. I usually cut things pretty close. And unfortunately, this kind of just put a little bit of a bad habit into my head of holding on to things because the market is heating up. Things were getting really good runners once again, and I just thought holding on to them a runner, and then it worked. So, a lot of people say to cut your losses quickly, and because averaging down, yeah, it works and it works and it works until it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, you really kind of screw yourself. So I learned that lesson the hard way. But to get back to it here, fun was basically what I thought was DWAC on Friday. We had that huge run on DWAC. Like we saw, it ran crazy in after hours and went all the way up to 175 on Friday morning. So when fun started getting hot in pre-market here and just had a crazy spike, I was like, okay, here's a DWAC 2.0. Obviously, it's not a Trump pump. It's not the social media, and it's a piece of crap company, but it has a low flow and was just going nuts. And so, like I said, with the warrants running through the halts, fun got halted coming out of the open quite a few times, as you can see here. And so I got into Fun W. I tried to get into it, as you can see, 50 shares at $13 there, right at 9.49. So right here, when Fun was running up right before it got halted, I was trying to get into Fun W, and we'll see what happens here. I missed it at 13, unfortunately. I just missed it at 13, and it runs straight up to 19. And so after I realized I wasn't getting filled at 13, I tried to get back in here right at $14, and I didn't get executed. And then Fun has this huge sell-off, and it gets halted. So what does Fun W do? Huge sell-off, but it can't get halted. And I get executed on this downwards move at $14 where I had placed my order, and I did not have time to cancel it. And yeah, I just kind of got stuck with it. And so I wasn't too happy about it, but in my mind I was like, everything is running. Warrants is gonna it's gonna run since Fun is since fun is halted, people are going to run over here like they did yesterday with DWAC. I'm just going to hold on to this. And once again, you can see if I'm only buying like 4 shares or something, it's because I had used up all my buying power again. Pretty much the Wednesday before and the day before, I didn't leave myself a lot to work with. I only had like 500 bucks to trade with on the Friday. And so basically, as soon as I entered into this 45 share trade, and it wasn't even 10 o'clock. I knew this was my only trade for the day. I didn't want to just cut it right away and then not trade for the rest of the day because I thought Friday was just going to be a crazy, crazy Friday with runners, and I just did not want to, cut this one short and miss out on the action. So yeah, got executed down here. You can see I buy 4 more at $11. So that's already a pretty bad sign because obviously I'm down $3 a share in 3 minutes. And I mean, honestly, that $11 dip buy was pretty good. If I didn't have these shares at 45, and I got full size like at 11 instead, I mean, I get a nice $3 push there, and that's easy. And it even comes back down and bounces off a 12 and then pushes over 15. But at this point, since I had bought 45 at 14 and then I only got 4 at 11, obviously that didn't change my average a ton since it was only 4 shares down at 11. It did help. It brought me down to like I don't know, somewhere in the 13s. And then, this gave me a chance to get out for a small profit at 14.50, but that wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. I thought we would at least run to 18, which you can see my very optimistic sell order that I placed at 9.56 here when we were just pushing up to 14. I set the order to sell at 18 and basically was just like, oh, it's going to get there. And I mean, I was watching it the whole time, but I wasn't planning on changing that order for a while. And it came back down. I did get pretty nervous here, and you would think, maybe I'd get out when it pushes and crosses 15. I was making over $1 a share at that point since my average was back down into the 13s and we crossed 15. Wasn't a crazy, crazy trade, but it was decent over $1 a share. I mean, I can't say I'll take that every day of the week because I did not take it on this Friday. And then that's when things get ugly here. And oh boy, do they get ugly. And I just sat here and I was like, oh, it's going to bounce. It's going to pick back up. And it did not. And fun sold off all day. I was waiting for this to bounce heavy and kind of fill in some of these, like this gap from the halt, something. And it just sold off, halting down, halting down. Then we get this little push, nothing. And yeah, I just watched Fun W go all the way down to $5, even hitting into the fours. We get a nice bounce here. I mean, that's a nice $3 bounce. It's not makes my loss not nearly as bad as it was down here. Still didn't take it. Fall back down. Then we get up into the eights, almost to the nines. Still don't take it. And I was just asking for it at this point. You can see I didn't even like cancel my order and try to place another one until 3:10 in the afternoon. Like I literally this was the longest day of my life. I'm not gonna lie. I literally just sat here watching myself be down like 5, 6, 7, $8 a share. And I was just like, dude, what am I mean, I was just like praying at this point that it would bounce. And it didn't, and I didn't take any of these bounces to get out on. And finally, I did place an order to try to get out at 7, didn't get filled. And about 20 minutes later, when it was just chopping around here at 3 o'clock in the $3 or around 3 o'clock, I mean, just look at how terrible this volume is. Like, I mean, it's horrific. Like, what am I don't even, I need to fix this chart so we can fully see it. But it's just like, dude, what are you doing? What are you thinking? And it was just okay. Now we just jacked everything up. But yeah, I mean, this was just hideous. And as you can see, just from this far back, I mean, look at the volume that I'm getting this whole day compared to coming out of the open here. It's awful. It's crap. I'm sure fun is probably the same way. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like messing all that back up. Oh, there we go. I mean, that's not what I was trying to do, but Yeah, I mean, you can see a couple volume bars there at the beginning, and then that's pretty much it. Yeah, crap volume. So, I mean, that was just, like I said, it was the worst trade of my life, probably. Like, just breaking rules and not caring, just setting an $18 sell and just watching this thing go to crack below 10 and just didn't even try to get out. Like, yeah, it'll pop back up eventually. And I mean, if you watch this volume up here, this is like by the minute. So at the beginning of the day, 335,000 in a minute, 100,000. I mean, obviously it fluctuates a bit, but we're getting 200,000, stuff like that. Over here, I mean, some of these don't even, that's 375 volume. Like, oh my, I really, I mean, I can't even like explain this. But yeah, that was rough. I think that was like a 300 and yeah, it was a few hundred here. We'll pull it up just because, I mean, at this point, why not? But it was awful. Where are you? Oh, this thing's not gonna show it, I don't think. Where are you? Okay, yeah. So I don't know the exact, I don't know why it's not in here. Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but yeah, it was like a 300 and something dollar loss. And it's a lot of lessons to be learned there, but I mean the main thing, well not the main thing. I mean I just didn't cut it and I didn't have much of a plan. But I think the worst part of it and what kind of led me to do that was the day before with DWAC going so crazy and DWACW going absolutely nuts as well. And the fact that I traded those warrants through a halt and it paid off, even though they did dip on me. They came back and I made like 100 and I don't know 120 or something like that. I want to say off of DWACW because I did have another terrible trade actually that day on HX here, which I lost about $70 on, which again was horrendous. As you can see, this original buy order didn't get my sell in pre-market even. We'll just pull this up because it's here. Oh boy, yeah. So this is why I kind of stepped back for a couple weeks. I did trade. I actually traded today. Had a nice small win, like $1 a share. I forget even what the ticker was. But I mean, I've had some small wins, but I definitely have sized back and just sized back down quite a bit. And I'm just back into taking things slow again because this threw me for a loop. So basically, what happened here with HX was it went crazy the day before, and this was Wednesday, and then so this was here's Thursday. And honestly, I didn't. I mean, looking back on the trade, it wasn't. Well, yeah, it was bad. The plan wasn't bad, but the open was awful, and I just tried to average down. But basically, I mean, it's a nice runner. We get some nice movement in after hours, pre-market. 8 o'clock, 8:30, right when I'm preparing. We get this big spike. We get this dip down to 22, and this is kind of the earlier pre-market highs. We have the highs from the previous day at 2150. This dip comes down to 22 and kind of gets down to 2150 and uses this support level here, which was, the previous resistance acting as support. And then it bounces up to 24 and 25. So then I get in on it right at 22 before the open. And I'm like, okay, well, we should have, support at that 2150 level. Even if we sell off at the open a little bit, we should bounce off of 2150, or we're just going to get like an insane spike right out of the open. And I should, get like $3 a share back to this 25 level or more. And as you can see, I cannot have been more wrong. This is why I don't trade China stocks. They're sketchy and they always sell off super hard. But I didn't care. I didn't listen, and so that's another rule that I broke by buying pre-market, selling pre-market. And since I didn't get my fill here, 922 is my buy. We didn't even get much of a bounce. Like I never got over 23 with it. Once again, just setting a sell order that I wasn't even close to for no reason. Then averaging down, and once again averaging back down. 1950 1876, and then another buy at 1710. So this is just, once again, just watching this flush right out the open. Well, you can see this buy order is at 931. So it's literally like, oh, this sold off immediately. Let me just buy some more. Even though actually that one I do remember. I had a brief thought. I just kind of scrolled back out. And at 18, we do get all these bounces to 18 the day before. So since this didn't act as my support, I was like, you know what? That was after hours and pre-market, so you can't really expect that to act as support because look at how small the volume is in after hours and pre-market compared to, the regular market hours. So I was like, yeah, that didn't work out. So this one will probably work. The regular market hours, resistance should act as support, and we got like a bounce off of it for like a second, and I just dove in. Another sell off. Then we start chopping around down there, and it kind of bothers me that this won't stay up. And so that was at 931. Then at 934, average back down into the 1870 range. I mean, basically, you can just see I should not have been averaging down this whole time. Bought some more here at 941, right around 17. Yeah, or at 1710. And then we finally get a little spike, and I was just like, dude, I got to get out of this. And so I did sell all of it just at 1750. And so that was like a full $38 loss or something like that. So that's why I'm trying to figure out exactly how much I made. I ended up this day like $110 green. Oh, so I made like 150 off of DWACW, because this was like a $40 loss or so, 35.40, and I ended the day up like 115 or so. So that is what kind of screwed me for Friday was, winning back this loss by holding on to this kind of loser, holding through the dip, adding on to it, and it paid off holding through the halt. And fun just didn't act the same way. And yeah, it just it crushed me. You know what I'm saying? That was my biggest loss by far. I think I did take another like $300 loss in my first like 2 months of trading when I was trading on Robinhood and I tried to follow an alert from a program that I was in. But I kind of like write that off as like I had no idea what I was doing and I was just buying an alert that tanked because I had no idea what I was doing. This was like my own thought process that just screwed me. And so that did shake me up quite a bit. I didn't trade, I think the following Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I don't know. Then since then it's just been kind of like small green days, or if I'm red on the day, it's like $5. The boring stuff that I had been doing for most of these videos, small losses or kind of small wins. And I was like, this is kind of boring. People probably want to see some more action, some big numbers. Um, yeah, that backfired. So hate to say it, guys, but probably won't be seeing those big numbers from me anymore. No, I'm kidding. I mean, they'll come. They'll come. They just have to. I just have to stick to the rules and cut the losses, and just at the end of the day, keeping a small loss, even if I take a $10 loss and then it spikes and I could have made $40, $50, even $100, it's just not worth the risk of adding and adding and adding on something that's tanking. So yeah, that's about all that I've got because LCID. This is what I traded today and made a little bit of money on here. And so this one's been running for a little bit. This video is getting kind of long, so I'll be ending it here shortly. But, just a classic red to green move here. It has been, I don't know why I only did a 10-day daily. Well, you can see 23 up to 41. And then we kind of chopped around sideways here on yesterday. So I just had an alert for a very, a simple red to green move on it. And I got in at like 35.10. Yeah, because we had some resistance here. So I just kind of liked the move of this going green on the day. And then if it was breaking the previous day's highs as well. And I know that, yeah, and it was kind of the bottoms of all these and the highs there, the high yesterday. So I kind of like the combination of going green and getting through that high of the day. So I got in right at 35.10 actually. So I entered a little bit before we got through that level. And then we got a nice run up to 37, 38. I sold actually just right into these initial spikes here for like a dollar something share. So it was a nice trade, but like I said, it was like 20 shares or something. Yeah, it was small. Sizing back down and just gonna be cutting my losses quickly and letting winners run because hey, this could happen. I mean, even if I size back up 50 shares on this, as long as I keep my stop, on that green to red move, still getting $2 a share on that. I mean, 50 shares is all you need. That's $100. I'll take that all day. My account's still pretty small. $100 win. That's I don't know, like 5% of my account at this point since I've been blowing it up. But we will not be taking any losses, any individual losses greater than $40 for the rest of the year. Mark my words. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next time.